there are three different tests by which we can go for. So the very first test, that is the in vitro test, then in vivo test, and there are specific tests. In vitro test, these are those tests which are to be carried out outside of the body. In vivo, that will consist of the tests which are to be carried out onto the or inside of the body. And specific test, these are some of the special kinds of tests which are to be performed onto the special devices, like say the contact lenses, right? As these are the special devices, so some of the specific tests that are to be carried out, that are to be performed onto these contact lenses. So what are the different in vitro test, in vivo test, and the specific test that we will see one by one. Now let us see the different types of in vitro test which are to be performed onto the ophthalmic preparations. So the list of tests that will consist of the sterility test, pH, clarity of solutions, visual assessment, and size of the particles, along with tonicity, osmolarity, and the viscosity. Then some of the tests like say the amount of substances, amount of preservatives, stability, and in vitro release. So all these are the tests which are to be falling under the category of the in vitro test. As far as the in vivo tests are concerned, there are tests in that the very first, that is the dry eye test, then in vivo release, and some of the other tests like say the analysis of the ions. These tests need to be performed onto the contact lenses. Then oxygen permeability. Again, this is the test very specific with that of the contact lenses. And determination of encapsulation efficiency for the multi-component drug delivery systems and the emulsions. So these are the specific tests. Now, as far as the sterility examination is concerned, as we said that the same kind of test which is applicable in case of the parenteral, the same is here in case of the ophthalmic preparations. And one of the ideal characteristic of the ophthalmics and the parenteral product, that is the sterility. So it must be sterile. And in order to ensure its sterility, the test that need to be carried out. So the sterility examination that will involve the inoculation in aseptic conditions of the sample. So there is a inoculation, the sample that is to be inoculated onto the medias. And then it is examined onto the two microbiological media. So what are the two microbiological media? One is the thioglycolate medium, that is the fluid thioglycolate medium, or the sodium thioglycolate, and the soybean casein digest. And the medium that is used for growth of aerobic and anaerobic bacteria. Medium with the hydrolysate of casein and soy, that is the soybean casein digest media, that is to be used for the growth of aerobic bacteria and the fungi. So as far as the examination is concerned, a thioglycolate medium with an applied sample that is incubated at a temperature of 30 to 35 degrees Celsius, and the medium with the hydrolysate of casein and soy with the applied sample that is to be incubated at the temperature of 20 to 25 degree Celsius. There is a difference into the temperature. The For the thioglycolate it is the 30 to 35, and for the soybean casein digest it is 20 to 25. And the time that should not be less than 14 days. That means this media has to be kept for or over a period of 14 days. That's why it is continuously examined. It need to be continuously examined, observed for the growth of the microorganisms. Then as far as this method to be performed, how it is to be performed, it is to be performed either by direct inoculation or by the membrane filtration method. So in case of direct inoculation, from the name itself, you can draw a conclusion that there is a inoculation of the product. There is a inoculation of the sample over onto that of the medium. Whereas in case of the membrane filtration, the product that is allowed to be passed through the membrane filter, and this membrane that is to be taken, it is to be cutted into the two different halves, and each half has to be placed onto the two different medias. So the direct inoculation that will involve the transferring the preparation to the medium, then the product containing antimicrobial properties, such effect of the substance that should be neutralized. So this is very, very necessary. If the product that will contain the antimicrobial properties, that is to be neutralized, because in order to identify whether the results which are obtained, that is either positive or false positive, or it is negative or it is false negative, right? Because say if the nature of product itself is antimicrobial, we cannot able to distinguish whether the inhibition or whether there is no growth, that is because of the effect of the antimicrobial property of the product, or it is purely sterile, right? So in order to differentiate that, it is very necessary to neutralize the antimicrobial property of the product. So the ointment that need to be diluted with the sterile solvent containing the chosen surface active agent. So surface active agent or the surfactant, they need to be selected in order to dilute the ophthalmic ointments. Then the formulation and the media that is to be inoculated or that is to be poured into the petri dish. So it is introduce the formulation directly to the medium, and in case of the membrane filtration for water and oil solutions, the filters from the cellulose nitrate, these are used. And the size of the pore that does not exceed 0.45 micron. Note the size of the pore that is 0.45 micron. This might be asked into the multiple choice questions. What is the size of the membrane filters? So you need to select the 0.45 micron out of the different four options that are given. Okay. So for some products like antibiotics, specifically adjusted filters are employed. For antibiotics, some special filters are there and they need to be selected and they need to be used. In the case of testing products with antimicrobial effect, the membrane that should be washed with chosen sterile solvent and not less than 3 times. So 3 times it is necessary to wash these membranes with the sterile product, with the sterile solvent, not exceeding the 5-fold cycle of the filter washing for 100 ml of the solvent. Then the formulation that is to be filtered, and the filter paper that is to be cutted into the two different halves, and each half that is to be placed onto the two different uh, medias, like say it is to be kept, it is to be put into the suitable media and it is to be incubated. The indirect method that can also be used for the ointments. So the ointment, these are the products with the fatty bases. So therefore, they need to be diluted with the isopropyl myristate at the temperature of not more than 40°C. So the product is filtered as quickly as possible, and for every drug form, after filtration and washing, the membrane is transferred to the medium, or the medium is introduced to the filtration set on the membrane. Either the process that can be carried out, right? So this is the way by which one can go with the process of the sterility. So sterility, that is the in vitro test in case of the ophthalmic evaluation. It is to be performed for the aerobic, anaerobic bacteria and the fungi, and the different methods are used, like say direct inoculation and the filtration method, right? So the different medias which are used, that is the fluid thioglycolate media and the soybean casein digest media. So the product that is to be kept or that is to be observed for a period of not less than 40 days. And if the nature of the product itself is antimicrobial, it is necessary to neutralize the antimicrobial nature of the product before performing the test. So this is the way by which one can go with the sterility test. Now let's move to the pH. As far as the pH is concerned, this is most important to have the optimum pH in case of ophthalmic product, because if it is not optimum, then that may lead to that of the irritation of the eyes. So the formulations such as like say solutions, drops, suspensions, and the gels, they must have the optimum pH, which is necessary. So that can be determined by using a potentiometric method, and by measuring the potential difference, the pH that can be determined. So between the electrode, the electrode, the it is placed in the examined and the reference solution of known pH. So the two different solutions they are to be taken. One is the sample and one is the reference. Reference, that is nothing but the standard, and standard, that is nothing but the one whose pH that is already known. So with this known, the pH of sample that is to be compared, or between the measurement, like say the glass electrode and the reference, which is the calomel or the silver chloride electrode, both they need to be placed in the examined preparation. Then the third test, that is the clarity testing. So clarity of the product, that is most important, and that can be performed by the visual method, which will involve the visual assessment of the formulation. The product is going to be examined by the naked eyes against the different backgrounds, like say the white background and the dark background, and the presence of the dark colored samples that can be detected against the white background, whereas the presence of the white sample or the white particle that can be observed, that can be visualized, that can be detected against the dark background. Visual inspection method or the clarity testing, that need not to be performed onto the suspension. Are you getting my point? The clarity testing or the visual method, that cannot be performed onto the suspension, because suspension already it will contain the suspended particles. So you could not able to differentiate whether it is the desired particle or the undesired particle, whether it is the drug particle or the non-drug particle, right? So the clarity testing, that is not applicable in case of the suspension. It is applicable in case of the solutions. So in suitable lighting onto the white and black background, it is to be performed, and it is performed for the liquid forms, excluding the suspensions. So that includes the eye drops and the in situ gels before and after gelling. So that is the clarity testing. So in case of clarity testing, again the transmitters measurement, that can be done using the UV visible spectrophotometer. So either we can perform by the visual inspection or by the uh, spectrophotometric method, right? So in case of this spectrophotometric method, this method that is employed onto the contact lenses, that is filled with the active ingredient. The lenses, these are hydrated in the physiological solution, physiological saline, and they are to be placed onto the surface of the quartz cuvette, and the transmittance is measured afterward from 200 to 1000 nanometer wavelength. So the spectrophotometric method of the clarity testing, that is to be performed on one, that is to be performed onto the contact lenses. So first these contact lenses, these are to be impregnated, these are to be dipped into the physiological saline solution. This saline solution or this contact lens which is deep into the physiological saline solution, that is placed over onto the surface of the quartz cuvette. This quartz cuvette that is to be placed inside the spectrophotometer, and the light that is to be transmitted through that one of the wavelength. Which is the wavelength range? Yes, it is the 200 to 1000 nanometer. Again, this is the point which is to be kept in your mind. This might be asked into the multiple choice questions, right? So then the transmittance, that is the absorbance, that is to be studied, that is to be checked, that is to be known, that is to be detected, that is to be measured. Next, that is the optical microscopy. So the optical microscopy that will involves the microscopic examination, microscopic particle count test. So that will involve the light obscuration particle count test, and it involves the dynamic imaging analysis. So there is a laser diffraction particle analyzers like say the electron microscopy, SEM, TEM, and the AFM. So there is a dynamic light scattering, that is the DLS, and the Coulter counter test. So all these are the different tests, nano particle tracking analysis. All these are the different other variations by which one can go for studying the particle size, right, or the clarity testing. So the content of the substances or the preservative analysis, again this is to be performed, and the examination of drug or the preservative content that should be given as per the label, as it is claimed into the label. In accordance with that, it should match with the relevant analytical technique like say the spectrophotometric method and the HPLC method. Then there is a viscosity analysis, the desired viscosity that is important in case of ophthalmics, because if the ophthalmic they will possess the desired viscosity, then there is a proper contact or contact time that will goes on increasing. When the contact time that will goes on increasing, there is more and more release of the drug at a localized site, and there will be a more bioavailability. So the required degree of viscosity, that is very very important. And if it is too much less viscous, in that case it will get easily drained off. So when it will get easily drained off, the contact time that will goes on reducing, and the bioavailability that will goes on decreasing, right? So that's why viscosity analysis, again, that is one of the most important method, most important evaluation parameter in case of the ophthalmic preparations. And this need to be performed by using the instrument which is said to be the viscometer. As far as the viscometers are concerned, the Brookfield viscometer that is to be used in order to perform this test. Tonicity analysis, again, as I said that there is a significance of the tonicity, isotonicity, or the equivalence of the ions, right? Because that may lead to that of the hypotonicity and the hypertonicity, that will lead to that of the swelling and the shrinkage of the cells. So that is not desired, and we need to have the optimum osmotic pressure or the tonicity that should match with that of the lacrimal fluids. So this tonicity that can be determined with the help of the freezing point depression method, electrical impedance method, and the vapor pressure method. Electrical impedance method, that is the most important and the most common method which is to be used in order to determine the tonicity of the ophthalmic products. Stability analysis. Stability analysis, that is next evaluation step or the next evaluation parameter in case of the in vitro test. So that involves or that will provides the information on the changes in quality of the active ingredient or the medicinal product in time due to the effect of environmental factors. So as far as the stability studies are concerned, the study that is to be performed for the long term, intermediate, and the accelerated state. So the long term that is to be performed for a minimum duration of 12 months. As far as intermediate is concerned, it is to be carried out for a period of 6 months, and the accelerated that is at a 6 month. The basic difference between the intermediate and the accelerated is that although the duration that is same, but the parameters they will go on differing. As you can see that in case of intermediate, you can see there is a temperature at which it is to be carried out, that is 30 degrees Celsius plus or minus 2 degrees Celsius, and 65% that should be the relative humidity plus or minus 5% variation. And compared to this, if we see the accelerated, in this case, the parameters are accelerated, the parameters are increased, the parameters are aggravated toward the higher side. So instead of 30 degrees centigrade, there is a 40 degree, and instead of 65% relative humidity, there is a 75% relative humidity. And as I said, that the duration that will remain the same, that is the 6 months. In case of the long term, you can see it is to be performed onto the 12-month or for a period of 12 months, and the two different parameters they are to be selected in order to perform the long term stability studies. Either we can go with the 25 degrees Celsius plus or minus 2 degrees Celsius, 60% relative humidity plus or minus 5% relative humidity, or we can go for changing 25 to 30 degrees Celsius plus or minus 2 degrees centigrade, 65% relative humidity plus or minus 5% relative humidity, right? So these are the different parameter, these are the different duration for which the study that is to be carried out, that is the stability analysis. Now in vitro drug release analysis, again that is the method or the that is the parameter which is to be carried out. And here the different methods, like say the bottle method, modified rotating basket method, diffusion method with the use of the Franz diffusion cell, and the modified rotating paddle apparatus, along with the use of the flow through devices. So these are the different methods by which one can go for determination of the in vitro drug release analysis. You need to keep in your mind, you need to study these methods. These might be asked into the multiple choice questions. As far as the bottle method is concerned, you can see this is the method in which the product that is to be taken, that is to be shaken. So the formulation that is placed in the culture bottle or the vials containing the phosphate buffer at a pH of 7.4 or artificial isotonic tear fluid. The bottles and vials, these are shaken in water bath or incubated under the magnetic stirring, and the temperature that should be maintained at 37 degrees centigrade. The samples are taken in specified time interval and examined for the drug amount. In case of the Franz diffusion cell or the Franz cell method, this will employs a two-chamber system consisting of the two compartments, that is the donor and the receiver. Already we saw this previously in our one of the lecture, right? While studying, I think the capsule or tablet in which we saw this Franz diffusion cell, where is the dissolution parameter that is to be carried out. So the formulation in a donor compartment of Franz cell and the thermostated dissolution medium, that is the which is maintained at 37 degrees centigrade plus or minus 0.5 degrees centigrade in receiver compartment, that will contain. Then the continuous stirring that is to be carried out using a magnetic stirrer at a RPM of 50 revolutions per minute. The compartments, these are separated with the dialysis membrane, the membrane that is made up of the cellophane membrane. And in specified time intervals, the samples, these are taken from the receiver and the drug is marked using a suitable analytical technique. There is another method which is said to be the rotating basket method. The formulation is placed in a set of baskets or substitutes, glass cylindrical pipes connected with a stirrer. Glass pipes are covered with dialysis membrane on one side. The other side is attached to shafts of the apparatus. The components are put in a beaker with a water jacket containing a buffer solution, a simulated tear fluid, that is STF. What is STF? STF, that is nothing but the simulated tear fluid. This might be asked into the MCQ. STF, that will stands for. So you need to select the proper option, that is the simulated tear fluid. Then the temperature, which is at 35 degrees Celsius plus or minus 1 degree Celsius, and the frequency of stirring or the frequency of stirrer rotation, that is 50 rpm. A sample of solution that is taken in specified time intervals, and it is examined for the drug amount, right? So all these are the different tests which are to be performed in case of the ophthalmic, and which will fall under the in vitro tests or the in vitro methods of the evaluation. So with this, today we will stop at this particular point only. We will going to continue with the remaining into our next lecture. Thank you very much. Have a good day to you all.